to enhance good governance and scale up the fight against corruption. In this coming year's financial year's budget, the 2023-2024 budget, a significant chunk to the tunes of billions of Kenya shillings has been earmarked for the fight against corruption. So just how much is enough for us to tame this vice? And this far, have we made sufficient strides with regards to the fight against corruption? That, of course, question forms the basis of our conversation today here on Business Glide, your number one show on matters public policy, economics and business at large, hosted by yours truly, your resident host and economist, Richard Mwenje. Indeed, always a pleasure to have you on board. Now with me on this conversation is this renowned public scholar and a man who knows almost everything, economy, politics, you name it. The first of his name in a floral shirt, Herman Manyora. How are you, sir?
Wonderful.
You're quite okay?
I'm picking up the pieces. I'm getting better by the day.
By the day. You seem to be engulfed in so much thought. Are you worried? You're aging, retirement is slacking by.
Worried about what?
Heading home to the village and living a lonely life.
Which village? The village is with me wherever I am.
Just minutes ago, you're feeling sorry for Uhuru Kenyatta. People attacking him in retirement, lonely there.
No. How can Uhuru be lonely? He has everything he needs.
But with few lieutenants around him.
Which he can employ a whole army if he wants.
He can?
Yeah.
That doesn't scare you, the thought of retirement, though?
Which retirement? People like I don't retire.
You don't?
No. Am I a worker? It's workers who retire. I'm not a worker.
Who are you then?
I'm not a worker. Please, you are an economist. Go and distinguish between a worker and someone like me.
There's a huge difference.
Yeah.
All right, very well. I surely will. Straight to today's conversation, we're talking matters about the fight against corruption. And if you look at the proposed financial year 2023-2024 budget, a huge significant chunk to the tunes of billions of Kenya shillings has been earmarked for fight against corruption. If you look at the four major institutions which are to help us curtail corruption, ODPP receiving 3.6 billion, ESCC 3.9 billion, 8 billion to DCI and 8 billion to the auditor's office. Now, it begs the question, we've been allocating billions to these high-level institutions to check on graft before. On a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the maximum, how do you think they have performed this far?
0.
You cannot say 0.
Yeah, 0.
Come on.
Yeah. The taste of the pudding is in the eating. So if these institutions have succeeded, we would see it.
You would?
We would have seen it. We would see some big fat in committee eating beans and gederi.
Some have been arraigned in court, John Waluke, to name them.
There's nothing.
There's nothing?
It's not worth it. It's not worth the trouble. I keep saying, supposing today we say we don't have these institutions in office, will anything change? The answer is no. If you want to know that an institution is important, argue that about the university. And I tell my colleagues at the university, we are useless because if the government decides today they close all universities forever, will this country change in any way? The answer is no. So if you remove ESCC and these other...
DCI and...
Will anything change? Nothing.
However, if you look at all those thriving countries in the economic setup, therein we've seen embedment of such institutions to fight graft.
No, none.
Not many, but at least one.
None. None. You know, I have said repeatedly, we don't have corruption in this country. We only have thieves engaged in thievery or theft, if you wish. You only need a policeman to arrest them and a magistrate to try them, not even a high court. Even you don't even the modern prosecutor. You need the old police prosecutor.
They can do the job.
And all will go to jail. If you want lawyers, must be first year law students to prosecute the thieves.
Are you signaling the lack of goodwill from the political class to expedite the fight against graft or what?
Of course. Nobody wants to fight corruption, so why do you want... So these institutions are to keep the pretense that we are doing something. If you look at the genesis, how did we start with the predecessor of ESCC? We had been made a pariah nation. Nobody wanted to touch us because of corruption, bad governance. And Moi had to convince the world that he was doing something. So he started up something that later became ESCC. Just to show people that we are doing... And if you go to countries that have semblance of this kind of institutions, like ESCC, it's always for the outside. to convince the outside. Not because it is a need. You want to convince somebody outside we are fighting corruption. Usually IMF and the other people. They also know you are pretending. Because they are also in the business of pretending. So you match each other in the pretense.
Times on end, Prof, you've shown little confidence on the men and women who've been put to be in charge of these graft fighting institutions. Is it because they are political appointments that you show little confidence for the institutions, or it's a question of weak capacity to govern them?
You know, I've never said anybody working there is not capable. Some of them are my friends. Some of them are my students, my former students. An indictment on them is an indictment on me. That's not what I'm saying. You can be the best, but you find yourself in a situation where you can't work. The idea is these institutions were never meant to fight corruption.
From the start, from inception.
And I've told you. Otherwise, you would be concluding that it is because of the men and women there. Because if you look at the mandate of EACC, it's not to go after people, just to go after people who have stolen and investigate. No. The other mandates they have, very key, like education, like determent, you know. So even if they were unable because of political reasons to follow cases and have people successfully prosecuted, where even the evidence that they're educating Kenyans about corruption?
There's so much to be done.
Where is the evidence? I've not seen. I would have seen. I come from a university. I would know. I'm a member. I'm actually the treasurer of Kenya Writers Association of Kenya. I would have seen even efforts to ask these creative writers to engage with them in terms of producing material necessary to highlight issues of graft and
education
so on
on graft.
I would have seen an aspect of that in the school curriculum and so on and so forth. So there's so much that would be happening if indeed these guys were out to fight corruption, none of which you can see. So it's not just following people, even to deter crime. You don't see an effort.
Very well.
That shows you really there must be something bigger than the individuals inside.
Very well.
Yeah.
With an increased allocation towards some of these institutions, take for instance, when there was an allocation towards the DCI office, we saw them coming up with a forensic lab to expedite on investigation and all that stuff, which literally signaled that with a huge allocation towards the institutions, also you are seeing improved efficiency. So how much is enough that we need to pump to the institutions? We are averaging at between 3 to 8 billion.
You don't even need billions for DCI. Once they have that forensic lab, I don't know how it's working. You even just need small things to train the police. How do you recruit the people to train? What is their education, entry education? Okay? You need a certain level of a basic education before you are trained into a successful policeman who can investigate. Basic education of a certain aptitude.
Not just to create employment.
No, not it's the policemen are going there because it's employment.
Not to serve the country?
It's employment, like you and I are looking for employment. But some of these are special areas that require some passion, some interest, and of course some background education. And then some specialized training.
Advanced training.
And then now you come in with equipment, facilitation. This is where the billions will be coming in. But you are throwing billions at people who can hardly... who can...
You can't say.
But see, let me tell you this. If you want to train the police in terms of investigations, why don't you recruit your police officers this year and tell them, I'm giving you 6 months, a team of 100 of you. After 6 months, there should be no phone stolen in this country, because it shall find no market. Go ahead. Sit down and design your own strategies. From those who steal, to those who buy them, to those who play around with them, you know, cleaning them,
True.
repackaging them, then, you know.
The entire conduit.
Just small little things. Get another 50 police officers and train them. And tell them, 2 weeks from now, there shall be no mugging in Nairobi. I have seen police shooting around Uhuru Highway. when they were trying to deal with muggings in Nairobi. Very dangerous shooting and the people are there. It's just like that time nobody died. They are not even trained on how to apprehend these muggers. Why don't you start there before you ask for billions? You don't need billions.
You don't need it.
And let me tell you one thing. If the police officers, especially young ones, are facilitated, encouraged, trained, above all, if somebody shows he believes they can do it, they can do a lot of work. But every big person in this country, including big policemen, is after money. So these billions will not happen in an environment where we get it wrong from the word go.
From inception. Very well.
You cannot take just anybody and make them a police, then from them say now you will become a DCI or what, you
special branch.
And by the criteria for which you become a member of the lucrative force like DCI or whatever, or traffic, is, you know, I must know you, or you must see me behind the tent. You can't fight crime. So in that context, the billions are useless.
The billions are useless.
They are not doing anything.
You are a celebrated political analyst, and we've seen back-to-back acquittals of those implicated in high-level graft. You've seen a number of even those serving the current executive being acquitted. What does this speak of the place of politics in the fight against corruption? How, I mean, come on.
Politics is central. Our politics, the architecture of our politics, makes corruption part and parcel of leadership. People become leaders to make money and to protect what they have. To make money, to get more, and protect what they have.
Then where is the place of
how do you expect the same people, the same leadership, to fight graft?
But they have always gone on that campaign vehicle of we are going to fight graft and bring resources to the people.
Nothing. Has it ever worked?
We now have a change of dawn in terms of the new government. Don't you have enough trust in them?
Well, I'm not
for the 8 months in office.
I've not seen any evidence.
New DCI boss. We're now going to have new audit.
It's not an individual. I've told you it's not a DCI boss or not. It is a system. An individual in a system won't make a difference.
Whether you put a cleric there or not.
The only place where an individual can make a difference is at State House. So you need someone like Jerry Rawlings, minus the excesses. A man or a woman, I have said this until I'm going to stop. I'll never say again. But you'll allow me once in a while.
I mean, but don't call them stupid.
I'm not calling them stupid. I'm just saying a man or woman, one day, landing at State House, even before he speaks, if Mother Karua became president, you think people still in this country, even before she takes oath of office?
Or Boniface Mwangi.
Yeah, I'm not talking of far-fetched. They are good people. But Mother Karua can become president tomorrow, can't she?
She can.
If a person like that took oath of office, my friend, people will not even need to be told. Things will just begin moving smoothly.
Or you're sent to the prison stailer for measurements to be taken.
Even these judges who take long to deliver judgment and give all manner of
due to backlog, you
all manner of orders, my friend, they will not. Some will just resign
and leave JSC.
Working under Mother Karua, you must be a very upright person. So you need a person who can send signals that is not business as usual. Or worse still, Manyora became president. Now, sasa hapo ni mambo ingine.
Westlands was too big for you. And you
which, my friend? You read history. You know, I will give you a few lessons from history.
Come on.
Yeah.
Can you make the much needed change in this country?
If I become president, within 6 months you can know you live in Kenya.
Or at least chairman of EACC, maybe.
Nah, those are small jobs.
Those are small?
Yeah, I tell you can't change corruption because you are chairman or
EACC.
Or CEO of EACC. You can't. Ask PLO.
He tried his best though.
You couldn't. He couldn't. You can't. Yeah. So you need top. Put me at the top there. Hata ukitembea tu Kenya, you know it's a change. Hata hii uchafu na unaona kila mahali hakuna. There will be nothing.
There would be nothing.
Hii uchafu na ruka unaona watu ruka hii.
Garbage collection.
5 years hakuna Kibra.
You can?
Of 5 years of my presidency, the worst housing in Nairobi will be Buruburu.
No more 129-page budget speech and all
Nothing.
that.
And hakuna speech mingi mimi naongea.
Brief.
Speech ukiwa treasury CS. You must speak in only 20 minutes.
And you're done.
You're done.
State of the Nation address under 1 hour.
Which is 1 hour. 15 minutes.
State of the Nation address.
15 minutes.
Talking about achievements.
Which achievement?
Not promises.
No. Whether preliminaries or achievements, state of the economy, you can do it in 15, 20, 30 minutes at most.
And you're done.
And you are done and people know what you are talking about. The bottom line is this. Seriousness. Only one word would define my presidency. Seriousness. In whatever we do as a nation. However limited we are in resources. However small we are. Whatever encumbrances we face, we shall face every task ahead of us with due seriousness. And that's what's lacking in this country. Just seriousness. Nothing else. If Kenyans just became a little serious with what they do,
just a little.
Just a little serious, the country will change.
There you have it from Herman Manyora. All we need is just a little bit of seriousness from the executive and also from our side as taxpayers and citizens at large. Of course, we know Deputy Rigathi Gachagua is our fan and probably he is watching. We'll pass the message to the boss at the top.
Correct.
All right, very well. Time now for our fan of the week. It is none other than this awesome citizen. That is Madam Nerima Wako of Siasa Place.
Oh, Nerima Wako, wonderful little girl. I admire that girl.
Yeah, she's
wonderful.
Against corruption.
She's our fan.
Big fan.
Oh, Nerima Wako, wonderful. I wish we had many more such a young people. Wonderful girl.
She's speaking boldly about corruption day in, day out.
Wonderful. Small girl, but
brilliant.
Very committed to this country.
Very well.
Thank you very much, Nerima Wako.
Right, asante sana Nerima Wako. If you want to be our fan of the week, head over on Twitter. I'm at Monja Richard, at H Manyora as well. DM us your contacts, where you're watching us from, and of course your name therein. We'll give you a shout out and a special credit for you being part of our support system. Until next time on Business Glide, I'm yours truly, Richard Mwenja. Always a pleasure to have you on board. And right about now on your screen is the Business Glide African proverb of the day.